Hey brainrots, welcome back. Today we are breaking down something that sounds complicated but doesn't have to be. The recent US government shutdown. Don't worry, it sounds hard to understand, but I'll keep this beginner friendly. So even if you've never followed politics before, you'll fully get it by the end. We'll start simple by explaining what a shutdown actually is. Then we'll go into why it happens, look at the history of shutdowns, move on to what's happening right now. After that, I'll show you what stops working, what in the government, what keeps working, how it affects everyday people and business, the economic losses happening right now for America, and finally, I'll go through what major news outlets are saying about what could come next. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll have the full picture. What is a government shutdown? The easiest way to picture a government shutdown is to think about running a household with, let's say, two people who share the same bank account. One wants to use money to pay bills, while the other wants to use it for entertainment. Until they agree, nothing moves forward. That's basically what happens in the United States during a shutdown. The government always has money coming in from taxes, okay? But it cannot spend even a single dollar unless the Congress gives permission. That permission comes through something called a budget. A budget is just like, if you're confused what a budget is, it's just like a yearly plan that lays out how much money should go to the military, schools, healthcare, science, research, investment, and all the other stuff of the government. If that budget isn't passed, or even a short-time backup plan fails, then the government loses the legal right to spend. They can't spend money anymore. And then the shutdown begins. Now, a lot of people assume a shutdown means that the US has run out of money. When I first heard about this, I also thought that it went bankrupt, but that's not true. This is a common misconception. Okay, the country continues to collect taxes. Okay, the issue is that the money cannot legally be used until Congress approves a budget. Okay. The reason they don't always agree comes down to politics. One side might want more spending for healthcare, while the other pushes more funding on broader security. Sometimes one side calls for increasing education budgets, while the other demands overall spending cuts. There's some random political shit. These disagreements can drag on for weeks, okay? And until both sides reach a compromise, the government remains frozen. Now these shutdowns, this is not new. What just happened on October 1st, this is not new, okay? They have been happening since the late 1970s, with more than 20 on record. 20. Most of them were just short, like a few days. So most people barely even noticed, right? But some have been larger, like in 1995 and 1996 during Bill Clinton's presidency. There were two major shutdowns. One of them stretched to 21 days, which was a record at that time. And in 2013, under President Obama, there was a 16-day shutdown over funding for Affordable Care Act. You don't need to care about what this is, doesn't? Also known as Obamacare. The longest shutdown in the US history happened in the late 2018 under President Trump. That only lasted 35 days, which is a lot, an entire month. And it felt like it left about like 900,000 federal workers without paycheck for a month, and they still had to work right through the holiday season. This year followed the same pattern, what I just mentioned, October 1st, 2025. Congress had so what basically happened? The Congress had a deadline to pass the budget. But lawmakers, they couldn't reach an agreement. One side wanted certain policies added, while the other side rejected them. The deadline passed with no deal, and the shutdown was automatically triggered. It had happened automatically because the budget it had no deal. It was like late, you could say. So what stops working during a shutdown, and what is not working in the US during this shutdown right now? The first people to feel a shutdown are, guess, federal workers. Hundreds of thousands of furloughed. They all are furloughed, which means they are not told to come into work because their offices no longer have funding. Museums, national parks, they close their doors, leaving tourists stranded and businesses nearby, to like hotels, restaurants, shops, all losing customers. Paperwork everywhere, it slows down too. But how? Okay, let me tell you. Passport and visa applications, they pile up. Okay, creating problems for people who need to travel abroad. Okay, small businesses that rely on federal loans may suddenly find their money stuck in a limbo. Farmers who depend on agricultural support face long, gigantic delays because the workers who normally process their requests are not at their desks. It doesn't all collapse at once. Okay, it feels like doors are shutting one by one by one, disrupting life in small but serious ways. Now, not everything grinds to a halt. Okay, essential services stays open. Now, what is this essential services? Like the things that the whole country actually needs. Like, you're not gonna, like, another country can't just attack them. Their military doesn't actually stop. Okay, because they need to defend their country. So the military continues operating. Police and even border agents remain on duty. Air traffic controls keep guiding planes safely. So even Social Security checks the Medicare payments if they are still delivered. So retirees and other relying on those programs keep receiving support. The issue is that many of these essential workers have to keep working, but they do get zero pay. No pay at all. The military, everyone, the police, border agents, no one gets money during the shutdown. They show up every day doing critical jobs, but their paychecks are delayed. That puts enormous, gigantic stress on families who depend on steady income to cover their basic bills. For everyday people, the first effects look like delays and frustrations. A passport that should have taken weeks now takes months. A family road trip to a national park is cancelled because the gates are locked. These might sound small, but when millions of people experience them at the same time, the impact enlarges, it grows. For federal workers, the effect is immediate. It's immediate and harsh. Missing even one paycheck can create serious physical strain. Rent, groceries, school fees, and utilities don't pause just because the government does. Many families live paycheck to paycheck. So when pay disappears, stress hits instantly. The economy also takes a direct hit. Like during the 2018-2019 shutdown, of the US, experts estimated that it cost the US $11 billion, with $3 billion permanently lost. Local businesses near federal offices saw fewer customers. Government contractors lost pay and work. This time the numbers are even bigger. Politico reported that the White House estimates the current shutdown could cost around $15 billion every week. It continues. Reuters added that $26 billion in federal funds have already been frozen. Okay, the slowdown reaches even Wall Street. Agencies like Securities and Exchange Commission have furloughed staff, which delays new stock listing approvals, that holds back business growth and investment. Tourism also suffers. In 2013 shutdown, about 6.5 million people were turned away from national parks, which cost surrounding businesses about more than $500 million. If the shutdown drags on, similar losses could happen again. So what's next? This is where the experts weigh in. The Associated Press points to the politics, saying that Democrats and Republicans are locked in a standoff. That's why votes reopen failed. The Washington Post shows the daily impact. Essential services keep going, but hundreds of thousands of people are furloughed, and services are like benefits processing. I don't even know what that is, but they are slowed. So Politico also noted that federal courts have funding only until mid-October. They have enough money to work until mid-October. After that, even courts may cut back. ABC and CBS News both say that the Senate holds the key. Okay, either pass a short-term plan called a continuing resolution or a full budget deal. Without one, the shutdown just continues. Meanwhile, Al Jazeera is giving live updates showing how agencies are cancelling events and freezing contracts. And USA Facts explained it simply. A budget is a money plan. No plan, no spending, shutdown. So that's the full picture. Our government shutdown might look like just another political fight in Washington, but the effects reach far beyond Capitol. Families miss paychecks, business lose contract, tourists are turned away, and economy bleeds billions. The only way forward is agreement until Congress and the President work out a plan. The shutdown continues. I hope this was easy enough for you to understand. I tried my best to explain you what just happened and what might continue to happen. I'll see you in the next video. So long, brain rots.